Hey everybody, Sean and Jamie here at Laurel Ranch. Wanted to give everybody an update on our barn. So we realized that we did a couple videos on the barn when we were building it.
Yeah.
And then we finished building it and we forgot to do any more videos.
But that's more than we did on the house.
Yeah, that's true. So we just got busy. So we're trying to do a better job. But we'll just give an update, just kind of show what it looks like, what we did, maybe why we did it, and what's coming up, what we're going to do next. Yep. So here we go. Okay, so now one of the things you can see here, we put in a little road to go here and a parking lot. There's string lights on the outside. So this was, we were building the barn, and my future daughter-in-law said, hey, can we get married in the barn? So we said, sure. And so we sped it up, and we're going to do a parking area here anyways, because when we have people out, we want them to be able to drive up to the barn, park there. But also we will use this to drive up to the barn, you know, unload feed, just come up here to take care of the animals, whatever it is. But you can see some things like curtains over there and the string lights out front. That was because of the wedding. It's going to be an animal barn, so those things will go away. We finished barn, did some siding here, which is just the, I can't remember what it's called now, but just regular 4x8 siding that has some grooves in it. And then we built these barn doors. So we built the top barn doors up there, and there will be a loft up there. So it's accessible with those doors if you want. And then these bottom barn doors, built those, and then a similar pair on the back as well. So we'll take a look inside. So again, normally an animal barn would not be painted white and have chandeliers and tulle, but it was for a wedding. So these things are getting ready to come down, but they were pretty cool chandeliers. So we used railroad ties and some chain, and then these cool stringy lights that Jamie got to make these chandeliers. And I think they turned out really well for the purposes of the wedding, but those will be coming down. But it's a 40 by 60 barn. So we've got stalls here that are 12 by 12. The middle aisle section is 16 feet wide, and these middle poles. And we closed in the north side of the barn, and we'll talk about that here in a minute, but mainly to keep the north winds out. And then the south side of the barn we left open. So these will be stalls for animals. We'll probably set up a milking parlor in here, but ultimately this side will have gates that lead out to the main pastures and all that kind of stuff on the south side of the barn. So we're planning to here in a couple weeks, these first 2 stalls right there. There's going to be concrete poured in there, and that's going to be closed in with kind of like a kitchen classroom where we can process animals, honey, refrigerate things, incubate eggs, store milk, clean things, whatever it is.
Make stuff. Teach making stuff.
Yep, make stuff. And then over here in the third stall will be a feed room. And then the back 2 stalls on that side will be animal stalls or brooders or different things like that. And then we also plan to, above here will be a loft. So it'll be 16 feet wide by 24 feet long. And there will be steps that go up right here, up into the loft. And there'll be a loft up top where we can store excess stuff. We did go ahead and frame out a couple things. So you can see a 2 foot by 2 foot square right there. So that's framed out to be a window. And that's more just to make the front look pretty when we do it. And then since we are putting a room over here, we framed out for a window and a door. And so that door will go from the outside. You can go straight into the room inside. So we're real excited about getting this stuff started on the inside since we finished the outside last year. Also in this feed room right here, we're going to put on the wall, we're going to have some water catchment on the outside. And so we're going to have our plumbing coming in on the inside here, as well as have some solar, some batteries, solar chargers, all that kind of stuff. And so we're going to try to run all the electrical in here from solar. So we're pretty excited about trying that out. One, because there's no power out here right now, but 2, we just want to have some alternate ways of having power rather than relying on the grid. So what we're getting ready to do here, a friend of mine this weekend and I, we got some scaffolds set up, so we're actually going to put gutters on. And so gutters on this side right here all the way across, as well as gutters back on the north side. And that will be the start to allow us to have water catchment. So one, it'll just divert the water away for now, but then we'll bring out some storage tanks and we're going to start collecting the rainwater for the animals and stuff. You can see those windows up there. This was kind of cool, I thought. Rather than spend a lot of money on windows, because those are 2 foot by 4 foot windows, what we did was we found a place where we could get some plexiglass cut to a specific size, and we just used some construction adhesive and glued the plexiglass into the frames, and then we trimmed them around the outside. And so with the trim on there and they're glued in, you can't even tell. They look like normal windows. They will not, it's a certain material, I can't remember what it was. Yeah, polycarbonate, that won't yellow or fade. They're stronger than glass and a lot cheaper, and look really good as well. Okay, so here we are out in front of the barn again. So one of the reasons we put the barn here, which is a little ways from our current house, is because right there past these oaks in that opening, that's where our final house is going to go. And so we will have the drive-in right there, our bee yard. You can come up to the barn, or you can go to our house. So it'll be much more accessible once we build our final house right there. And then one of the things that we've talked about doing is this space right here, which is on the north side of the barn, is using this for our big garden. And yeah, in-ground garden mainly. So we talked about the water catchment. So on this side, on the north side, these gutters, and we've got a lot of square foot on the roof for water to come off. But we're gonna have 2, maybe up to 4 storage tanks of water. So it'll pump water into the barn for use with the animals, but we're also going to use that water right out here for the garden. And you can see our soil here is not great. That's an ant pile, but just look how sparse it is. The grass is not thick, the ground is cracked, there's a lot of rock in various different places, so our ground is not fantastic. So what we did in the front yard of our house is similar ground, and it had all been dug up, and we tried to grow grass one year. It just didn't work. And so then what we did is we put our chickens out there, and then part of that too, they pooped everywhere. They stirred up the ground. We added some hay just at different points,
and they were in a tractor, so we moved them every day.
Yeah, they were in a tractor and they moved every day. And then we planted grass and we watered it, and it came up really nice and lush. And so since that time, we put turkeys on it, and we put chickens again, and then turkeys again, and that we actually have soil now. Like we're building soil, and so we're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And so this whole area here, when I was showing it, it's very kind of dead.
It's very similar to what the front yard was.
Yeah, and so we have to fence off the garden, because around here we have deer that
eat everything.
They eat everything. So we have to put 6-foot fencing, just like we have the garden around our current house. And so we're going to start out when we get some of the goats and the sheep and put them in here before we do a garden. Let them eat all the grass, let them stir up the dirt, let them poop all over the place. And then we'll probably rotate in some chickens and some poultry, and do that a couple times. They'll help mix up the ground and the dirt. They'll scratch around. We'll get some good manure from the goats and the sheep, and then add in some of the chicken manure and get that soil a little bit better. And then we'll start planting and water from there. And so we're curious to see. We'll take you guys along. We think it's going to work. We may fail.
Yeah.
I don't know, but we're going to try.
We'll try.
And it kind of seemed to work in our front yard, and so we're going to give it a try here, just on a larger scale,
right?
With different animals. And I think we talked about, we're building a rabbit tractor. Yeah. For growing up baby rabbits that we can move around and have kind of the same types of effects with the rabbit poop. And one thing we want to try there is feeding the rabbits some of the types of grass seeds that we want to grow.
Because rabbit poop grows things all on its own.
We found that out when we put rabbit poop in our garden.
Yep.
And we got all kinds of things that we found
didn't
out.
Plant.
Right, it was in their feed. So we're going to try that too. See if maybe we can get some of the grasses growing
through their poop.
Let's see what happens. I don't know. We'll give it a try.
And we have baby rabbits coming in about 2 weeks.
Yeah, so we'll do some video on that.
Yeah. That's a whole nother video.
Yep. Okay, well, so that's our quick barn update. But the structure's done. It's good. It's watertight. We don't have water coming in there. It stays dry inside. Served great for that wedding, and then we've had a couple parties out here, and we've got a baby shower that's happening out here, and then our daughter's birthday party. And then
it's an animal barn.
Then we get to get started on the animal barn portion of it. Yeah. And so we'll try to do a better job on videos and how we construct the loft in there, and we start putting up animal pens and do the concrete in there, start building the room. So really the inside should transform. And then once we get the water catchment and the solar, so we've got some power, which hopefully we'll get at the minimum the solar here in the next couple of weeks, because when our chicks come in March,
yes,
we want to brood them out here, and we need electricity for the heat plates.
Yeah, because the last brooder, we'll make that another video.
Well,
I think we didn't really work
we did a video on it,
right?
But it was before we used it, and it just didn't work.
It was a great idea in theory.
Yeah, there were some concepts we will use from it, but yeah.
We like to do everything twice, though.
At least twice. Yeah.
At least twice.
Yeah, Jamie had a good idea that our here at Laurel Ranch, our kind of tagline is learning while we grow, because we definitely do that. We're doing a lot of growing, a lot of new stuff, and most things we've never done before. So we're learning a lot, and we'd like to do a better job taking everybody along the journey rather than trying to get it right before we video.
And I think really demonstrating that you don't have to know anything to try, and there's a lot of learning as you grow.
Yep.
And so,
which is true. We've never built a barn, and we've
never owned
built a barn,
a lot of land, or had livestock.
Right. So this is all going to be new.
Big garden.
We've had input from a lot of people on how to design the barn, so we're going to implement that. We're going to try it. We're going to get some goats and some cows and sheep and other stuff, and it'll all be new.
Little ones.
And we'll give it a try and see how it goes.
Yeah. We'd love for you to join us.
That's right. All right, that's all for today from Laurel Ranch. Sean and Jamie. Bye-bye.